Hello, welcome to the Nature Gardener. As you can see, nature is in full flow. Everything's out and about now, building their nests, and I love seeing all the little critters in the garden. Things that if you don't put nature first, you just don't get. I believe that's a type of bee fly, but I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments below exactly what it is. The pear tree, the cherry tree, the apple tree, every tree that I've got in my garden has flowered and blossomed really well this year. And so far we haven't had a late frost. Fingers crossed we don't get one. So I'm hoping for plenty of fruit. But at the moment, what I've mainly been doing is sowing seeds. I believe I've mentioned before that because I don't have a heated greenhouse, a south-facing window or a conservatory, I struggle to get my seedlings and my seeds started really early. So what I tend to do is leave them until March, April, and everything else catches up. In my years of gardening, I've found that often it's better to sow them a little bit later than it is too early, because the plants that are sown too early, well, they just struggle in the cold, where the ones that are sown a bit later, they catch up and they just romp away. Now, I don't take seed sowing too seriously. You'll see a lot of things online, and many of them are myths, and I will make videos about this, about you've got to bleach your pots and you've got to sterilize your soil, and you just don't have to. Basically, if you can put compost in it, you know, if it's a toilet roll tube, if it's an old plant pot, if it's anything that retains compost, you can grow in. And as I always say, just throw seeds at dirt and see what happens. A lot of the time, you'll find that seeds just want to grow. And if you give them the right conditions, as in decent compost, moisture, light, warmth, they will grow regardless of what you put them in. After all, look at nature. Nothing's bleached and sterilised in nature, is it? Anyway, you can join me on a really quick garden tour, because I'm going to go back to basics this year, and I'm going to try and grow a lot more of the staple British classics: carrots, onions, potatoes, cabbages, and obviously the soft fruit, strawberries, raspberries. Obviously, you know, I've got plenty of apple trees, I've got plenty of raspberry canes, and I've got quite a few perennial vegetables that will just come back, like Jerusalem artichokes and yacons and rhubarbs. But it's just nice knowing that hopefully if I have a good season, I can take some real take a real sting out of the shopping bill, and that's one of the main reasons that I garden. It's just a peace of mind, really. And with that, I'm going to show you how I do my potatoes. Now, there's two different types of potatoes, and I learnt this from Tony from Simplified Gardening. Now, there's determinate and indeterminate potatoes, and this year I'm going to be growing potatoes from ones I saved myself. Now, determinate potatoes are mainly earlies, and indeterminate potatoes are mainly main crop, and the difference is one grows in a line and one grows up. So indeterminate potatoes keep growing, basically the more soil there is on top of them. Determinate potatoes, they have a set time, and once they're done, they're done. But once you know this, you can essentially layer up your pots to maximise space, and this is what I do. Now, this compost is very basic compost. It's just a soil conditioner from green waste that I used last year with manure, and use any compost you want, but layer your pots up something like this. Now, I like a manure base layer, but you don't have to do that. And I like a mulch top layer, but you don't have to do that. Basically, all you need to do is put any form of soil, compost, manure, whatever organic matter you've got in a bucket, put potatoes in it, and they will grow. You will learn over time what works for you in your environment, in your garden. But honestly, growing potatoes is literally this simple. Now, I had a few things in my mix. I put a bit of blood meal or bone meal in there. I sometimes use seaweed fertilizer. It's basically whatever I can get my hands on that's cheap. I don't go to too much effort with my potatoes, because I find potatoes reasonably easy to grow. In fact, if you wanted to, you could just plop them in your flower bed, and then when you weed your flower bed, you'll end up pulling out handfuls of potatoes. So don't overthink potatoes. They work well in pots, they work well in the ground. I just find it really easily this way. I also find I get really good compost that I can use for seedlings the following year. And to be perfectly honest, I find them really easy to store this way as well. I can just pull the green foliage off the top. I can stack the pots on top of each other in the corner of the garden. And when I want some potatoes, I can go and get a pot, empty it out and eat them. And it works for me. But you've got to do what works for you. There was a time I didn't bother growing too many potatoes, because I always found that you could always get fairly decent potatoes pretty much all over Shropshire, or all over England really, but Shropshire, where I live, is a really big potato growing area. But in the last few, years really, and more so last year, I've noticed the quality of potatoes has really gone downhill. and a lot of black spots and other things in there. So I've really upped my game on potatoes this year, and I found that decent quality like new potatoes and really culinary classics, often when you're getting them from the supermarkets now, they're not as good as they used to be. But if you grow them yourself, you can guarantee that quality. So this year, on the, as I call it, the driveway allotment, I'm going to put some Jersey Royals in, and I saved these, and they've been sprouting nicely all winter, just in my hallway. So fingers crossed, I'll have Jersey Royals grown in Shropshire. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, try this. This has worked for me in the past, but not always. It's a bit of experiment. Just some old compost, and it's the potato shoots, the sprouts, that I've broken off. Now, I've had success with this in the past, and you can grow, if you put each one of those stems in water and get roots, you will grow a potato plant, but you necessarily don't get big potatoes. But you could try this with me. Pop your sprouts in a bucket, put some soil on it, and see how you get on. Now, this is just the thing that I want to point out to everybody. Don't be a neat freak. If you see this in your garden, it's a little critter that's made a nest inside the leaf, and I can't think what it is, but it'll be some kind of caterpillar. Now, it's easy to pull that off and throw it away, but in a couple of weeks there's going to be a lot of hungry chicks that want grubs, and all the adult birds will know exactly what that is, and that is essentially McDonald's to a bird.
Can you film me so I can get a thumbnail for my video?
Is it already filming?
Yep.
A few moments later.
Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? I've been cracking on down the skinny allotment, as you can see as well, tidying up the edges and sorting out all the bits of jobs that I didn't get done last week. And I always keep all my grass and all my turf. I just put it upside down in a compost bin or something. Don't take it to the landfill like a lot of people do. It's such good stuff. It just takes a while to rot down. And as always, folks, when you're doing hard graft, make sure you take time out to have a beer. And also, when you're having a beer, I've often found that when I sit here and have a beer now, the local ant population come out to take full advantage. So I always make sure I leave them a drop. So look after your ants, folks. So yeah, in a mission to grow more veg as lazily as possible, I'm going to try and do a vegetable meadow. This is like just something that spawned in my head. Basically, I've got a selection of seeds here, which is onions, radishes, beetroot, cabbages, carrots, parsnips, kale, calendula, some poppy seeds, some cornflowers, and I'm going to basically lay them thick, cultivate them into the soil. And the idea behind this is that they should grow and they should take over from any weeds. Obviously, the root vegetables, the carrots and the parsnips will go down, obviously, and they will take up the deep space. Things like the radishes and the beetroot, they will not be as deep, obviously, in the top layers. And then the things like the kale and the calendula will come out on top. And that should also help mask the smell of, like, for the carrot fly. And there's also spring onion seeds and stuff in there. So as they grow, I can pull them out. And the idea is that I can literally just cut this and take bits off and pull bits out as and when I want, and it should hopefully look after itself, just in nature, basically, when everything grows together. Now, you might say to yourself, why is he treading all over this? Well, because I do no dig, I'm not going to hurt the soil structure here. So by treading on it actually helps get the seeds bound to the soil. And hopefully should help with my germination rate. But don't forget, I have also oversown this, so there's plenty that, the whole one for me, one for the crow, one for the slug. I've got way more than I need here. But these were seeds that were essentially going to go to waste because, as we all know, we have far too many seeds. So at worst case scenario from this, I reckon I'm going to get some really nice calendulas and probably a few parsnips. But we'll see, won't we, in a few months' time. Oh, and that's an artichoke that I completely forgot about. I have to put the metal down just to stop anything like cats scratching around in it. This is Michaelmas daisies, which I'm going to take home. As you can see, I've sorted out the wildflower area at the front of my plot. So the dog daisies, the achillea, and everything else is starting to come through now. And look at that rhubarb. I mean, it's a beast, isn't it? I need to get some of that rhubarb. And as you'll see in a minute, I've probably got a couple of kilos of rhubarb and I haven't even touched it. I do like my rhubarb. And rhubarb is expensive now. I couldn't believe how expensive it was. Not even for decent rhubarb in Tesco's was £5. £5 for 450 grams. Oh, yes, and here's the robin, by the way. He and she are still there. And they're not being disturbed. And I am only going into that greenhouse very, very rarely to just water the grapevine and come out again. But everything down the other plot's coming on well now. I've got my hay because I'm going to do some hay potatoes, more potatoes. I've got more rhubarb, as you can see, and hopefully this year should be a bumper crop of apples. And I do love my apples. It's undoubtedly my favourite fruit, and being able to harvest 4 or 5 different varieties of your own apple from your own plot is probably one of my favourite things to gardening. I do love a fresh apple straight off the tree. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And finally, for those of you who have followed me on Instagram over the years, you'll know how much I love my front garden because I try and pack it full as many spring flowers as possible. So in the spring, the start of the season, I get to sit out and drink my morning tea, watching the birds, and it's really popped this year. There's a few things that have failed, but there's a few things that are going to come later. But you know, the colours are great. The blues, the reds, the whites, the cherry blossom has been amazing. The smells, oh, I wish I could show you the smells. Show you the smells? You know what I mean. But yeah, it's a shame though, like I said, because of the dry bit, that some of the daffodils didn't quite hang on. It got too warm too quickly for them, because normally you get a good mix. But some of the early daffodils have now died off. But the later daffodils are now coming through, and as you can see, some of these later daffodils are just, oh, they're lovely. And I like a dandelion too. I love a dandelion. I do love a dandelion. One of nature's heroes, a dandelion. Leave them alone. They also taste good too. Yeah, I've also used these old hanging baskets to act almost like bug hotels. They'll act as a safe space for creatures to crawl into to get away from the birds, because obviously we've got a big bird population in our garden, and although I do love my birds, I also love my insects too, and the insects have got to have a fighting chance, haven't they? So the odd space that the insects can get away from the birds is good. So yeah, those little wicker hanging baskets upside down, they make perfect little bug hotels. But I have to say, so far it's been a really enjoyable season.